What's going on, fellas? As a man in a relationship, as a father, in any type of leadership role, maybe you're a manager at a company, you will at some point assume the role as a leader. And one of the facts and truths about life is that there will always be problems. Conflict is inevitable unless you're avoiding it. And there's really no way to avoid conflict because at some point you have to face the beast no matter what it is, no matter if it's now or later. So today I'm going to show you how masculine men handle conflict. And I'm going to break these down in different situations, so pay attention. All right, guys, now the first one and the first way to handle conflict. Now, remember I said conflict and problems are inevitable. So you can't run from conflict. So one of the things you may have to do from time to time is give people bad news. Whether that's you correcting them on something that they did or whether that's you letting them know about something that they need to hear and it's unfortunate. The best way as a leader to give somebody bad news or to check somebody or let them know that they stepping out of line is to first give them encouragement. Now, if you are a dominant and assertive man, this may be foreign to you because more times than not, you just want to tell people what it is. All right. But at most times, especially if you are a father or if you're in a relationship, more times than not, you want to give bad news with encouragement. I'll give you an example. Let's say you got a kid or a girl you're in a relationship with and they do something dumb that you don't agree with. The first step is not to automatically start criticizing them, because one thing that's going to happen no matter how you give them the bad news is there will be confrontation, so you can't avoid it. Now, what's the bad news? The bad news is that you're disappointed with them, you pissed off with them, you irritated by them, and you need to correct them. So the first thing you do is give them encouragement. Hey, look, first thing I want to tell you is you've been doing a great job. I appreciate everything you do for me, but here's a problem. Or this is what I need to tell you, or here's a current issue, or here's the issue that I'm having with you at this current moment. It kind of neutralizes the situation. Now, you're not putting this person on a pedestal, nor are you excusing this person of their bad behavior. What you're doing is confronting a person while avoiding unnecessary conflict, because this is the honest truth. Every single person's natural innate response to conflict is to protect themselves. It's to get on guard. So if you immediately start accusing somebody of something, they're going to automatically start protecting themselves. Most people will lie to protect themselves. So if you got to accuse somebody of something or question somebody of something, and you don't bring them some type of encouragement first, or at least some words to neutralize the situation, some soft words. This is you understanding soft skills and communication. At least ask them how they doing today before you start crashing out on them. That's what I mean. All right, G. So first off, some men don't care about this, so they talk to people any kind of way. Hence the results some men get in life. All right, so respect and power is not all about brute force. Sometimes it's about soft skills. All right, guys. Next one. Now, when conflict does arise, which it will, all right, fellas, and this one is going to be quick because I got about 9 or 10 today. One thing you need to work on is staying calm and staying in your frame, i.e. your masculine frame. Guys, you ever had those moments where you told yourself in the car ride on the way to go talk to somebody that you was going to stay calm and you was just going to tell them what you need to tell them without crashing out and without losing your temper and shit like that? But as soon as you got there, they said some shit that you didn't like and you didn't agree with and you crashed the fuck out and your whole plan went down the drain. G, you gotta stop doing that. And I'm telling you this from self-experience. All right? And this is why. Because as a leader, people usually, especially in conflict, when the heat turns up, more chances than not, as a leader, people usually follow your energy. So if you are not calm and collected and smooth and staying inside your frame, you give the other person, the people who are following you or supposed to be following you, you give the other person leeway and confirmation and permission to crash out too. All right, G, as a leader, I say this shit all the time. You got to understand, if you want to be a leader, people going to follow you. And one thing people follow that's easy to follow, and it really don't take words half the time, is your energy. So it has a lot to do with your body language and all that shit. We're going to talk about that later. But fellas, you must stay calm, even in the midst of conflict. You want to be the person who's more logical and rational in conflicts. And what's going to happen is you're going to set the dynamic and set the tone for the conflict or for the conversation or for the interaction if you're the leader. But if you are the leader and you're crashing out, don't be surprised if people doing the same. And this is especially when you're talking to a woman. You can't control how a woman acts when you're confronting her, when you guys are arguing, which you shouldn't be arguing profusely. But if you guys are going back and forth and having an interaction, you cannot expect, or you can almost bet, that this woman will trip out if you start tripping out. Now, like I said, you can't control her actions, but you got a better chance at her staying calm if you stay calm, all right? Remember, fellas, you are the leader, all right? So even when a woman start tripping, you stay calm. Don't follow a woman's energy, all right, fellas? Next one. Now, this one is going to take you paying attention, all right? First thing I want you to do, fellas, when people are talking, I need you to listen, all right? G, you got something that's going through your veins right now called testosterone. And what it does sometimes is it prevents you from listening. Why? Because you got all this aggression and you just want to talk and get your frustration and your emotions out. Guys, related to number 2, first, stay the fuck calm. Stay in your frame. But when people are talking and they're telling their point or telling their side of the story, remember, fellas, this is in conflict. First, you listen. Now, not only do you listen, but you also correspond. Active listening. So what you said is basically you didn't like the way I acted. Basically. Now, you don't want to patronize somebody, fellas. And you don't want to be facetious when you're talking to them because you don't want to make somebody feel stupid when they really expressing themselves. But you also want to reframe what the fuck they said after they said. This is you communicating like a leader. So basically what I'm getting at, and basically what I'm trying to understand is you didn't really agree with the way I was acting or the way I said what I said. Am I correct? And that person can correspond. Yes, you're correct. Okay, now you understand and you can reframe it in a way to where you can respond. But if the person is talking and you're not listening and you automatically respond, most people, in not only conflict but in conversations, they don't listen to listen, and they don't listen to have the conversation, and they don't listen to understand. They usually are only listening to respond, and they're not even really listening. They're more just hearing, all right? It's usually just going through one ear and out the other one, all right? And they're just waiting to get their point across. If you want to be a leader, the most important thing about being a leader, especially in conflict, is being heard. The only way you will be heard and people will want to listen to you is if you listen to them. It's called the law of reciprocity. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. You listen to what the fuck I gotta say, I'll listen to you. You give me the floor, you can have it right back. That's the only way you can demand people to listen to you. If you just keep an open ear, at least about what they have to say, and then also make them aware that you're listening to what they have to say. How? By reframing what they said. I just gave you a few examples. You can rewind it if you didn't get it. All right, fellas? So that's number 3. Now let's talk about another way you can handle conflict. Let's say somebody disappointed you, and you can reframe this in any type of situation you like from your own personal experience or what you're going through right now. But let's say somebody disappointed you, and you have already confronted them with the problem, and both of you guys are aware of what they have done that is wrong. All right, guys? This is what I want you to do. Give them an out. So I'll tell you a story. I was dating this chick a few years ago, and we went out to a restaurant. Now, the restaurant that we went out to, it was actually a restaurant that she's been to before, and I never had been to. It was my first time. All right, so when we get there, when we first walk in the door, and by the way, G, me and this chick was dating for like 6 months already. So when we get there, we walk in the door, and there were 2 guys that were actually walking out. And when she saw them, I guess she knew them, G, and obviously that was a red flag for me already. We probably only lasted about 2 more months after that. But the point is, when we walked in, there was 2 guys walking out. And when she saw them, or when we saw them, she was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And she gave one of them a hug. Now, G, whole time I'm scratching my head like, did this bitch just lose her mind? Now, G, I stayed calm. I followed my rules. Now, when we sat down, the first thing I told her, I looked at her and I was like, "Hey, look, I know you probably didn't mean anything by what you just did. Give him an out, all right? Gee, maybe she didn't mean anything. Maybe the bitch is being over friendly, all right, fellas? But you got to be a leader, even when people doing dumb shit and they disappoint you, all right, fellas? Now, you guys already know why I was scratching my head while the shit was going on. You guys know. I ain't got to say it. But give him an out. So what I said was, look, I know you probably didn't mean anything by that, by what you just did, but we don't do that. All right, we don't do that. That's kind of disrespectful by what you just did, hugging another man in front of me, being all friendly. So next time, for future references, when you out with me, so on and so forth, I gave her the rules. She kind of already knew that before. That's why the shit only lasted about 2 months after that. All right, G, but give the person an out. Because like I said before, if you automatically start attacking people, just picture what would have happened with that chick if I would have automatically just came at her and be like, next time you talk to a dude in front of me, blah, blah, blah. See, that ain't gonna work. That never works. And some of you guys try to lead by force all the time. This is why you don't get good results with women. Yes, you want women to respect you, but understand they are human beings. You can't be talking to them like they dogs, fellas. I know they little critters, but they still human beings, all right, guys? So give them an out. Now, this is going to correlate to number 5, and I'm going to combine these two. Remember, pay attention to what I said, all right? When I told her, I said, we don't do that, okay? It's just leading like a leader. Now, I could have came at her and be like, nah, you shouldn't be doing all that and stuff like that. I said we. Why did I say we? Because you with me. You follow me. So we don't do that. So whatever I don't do, you don't do either. So I don't do shit like that. You don't do shit like that. We don't do shit like that. It's more teamwork there. It takes the pressure off them. Like I said, people, you got to understand human nature. Anytime somebody feels cornered, they're going to get on guard. Think of any animal when it feels cornered. It usually brings out its deadliest weapon. Even small little fish. Every animal has a deadly self-defense mechanism that when it feels cornered, it will fuck you up. And it's just like humans. When two forces are at a disagreement and oppose, the lesser will always win. Why? Because the lesser is willing to do whatever it takes. The lesser in this situation is the person who feels cornered, the person who you're attacking. And they'll do whatever it takes to get out this situation. This is why you don't argue with women. All right, guys, see how I just landed that plane? So, give him an out. This is how you avoid unnecessary conflict, and this is how you take the pressure off the person so you don't make them feel like they got the limelight on them like they're in an interrogation scene, all right, guys? This is leading like a leader, understanding human nature and human psychology. We got 2 more. Now, being a leader is obviously about talking things out, making sure you're communicating effectively, making sure you're listening and understanding people, making sure you're coming to common ground with people, and considering what they have to say and how they feel and what they think. But a big facet of leading like a leader and like a masculine man and staying in your frame is walking away. All right, G, y'all already know this is my favorite word. Understanding the power of silence. Because one of the facts about life is no matter how understanding you are, no matter how supportive you are, no matter how cordial you are, no matter how professional you are, no matter how loving you are, some people just ain't gonna budge. And some people just ain't gonna listen. And some people don't want to agree. All right, some people just want to argue just to argue. Some people done woke up, had a bad day. Most of the time when people giving you shit or causing problems or giving you conflict, it's mostly about them and the energy that they're projecting onto you versus what's going on with you or really how they even feel about you. It's more about how they feel about themselves. So one thing you got to understand and learn how to do is to just silently walk away. And I'm not talking about walking away and avoiding confrontation. I'm talking about walking away when you understand the game of chess and you understand that right now, it ain't no fixing this. Emotions are too high. You yelling, I'm yelling, everybody tripping, somebody about to get knocked out. So what I'm going to do as a leader, I'm going to just walk away and I'm going to revisit this shit next time. All right? We going to come back. All right, we can talk about this later. And this is especially in professional situations. So when you're going back and forth with somebody in any situation, really in relationships, it don't matter. When emotions are getting high, fellas, you got to understand usually violence or any type of intense altercation usually follows. Because this is the most frustrating thing in the world. You know the other person wrong. They know they wrong. You both know y'all wrong. Y'all looking each other in the eyes, making eye contact, fully aware that they wrong, but they can't admit that they wrong. And usually it's in the form of gaslighting or some shit like that. So fellas, come back. I ain't saying run from the problem. Just walk away and revisit this shit for next time. That's what the soft next is all about when it comes to women. Some guys are like, oh man, a real man would never walk away from confrontation. No, G, I'm saying don't just sit there yelling and screaming like a beta with a woman. Walk away. Let her scream. Walk away. Ignore the bitch. Focus on your life and your purpose. Then come back and correct the next time when her emotions done settle, G. All right, it's simple. You a man. This is what stoicism is, really, all right? Simple shit. It's not that complicated. But the reason why it has to be said is because most people can't do this. That's why the people that can do this are usually leaders. All right, next one. All right, guys, how to lead. You can definitely show authority, not aggressiveness, but authority through your body language. All right, I'll give you an example. Let's say somebody's saying some bullshit, or they're explaining to you their side of the story or their point, and you know it's bullshit and they lying. And they know they lying, and both y'all know they lying. One of the ways you can show authority in this situation of conflict, while they're talking, you can kind of lean back and cross your arms and kind of make like a dumb face at them. Instead of calling them out, oh, you lying, I know you lying, just lean back and kind of look at them. It's kind of patronizing, but that's an easy way, a clear way. You can non-verbally show them that you know they full of shit and you got boundaries and you ain't taking that shit. So that was just a simple example. But the biggest thing about body language, guys, is not being so aggressive with your body language inside of conflict. A lot of you guys go to slamming shit, being all aggressive, moving chairs all wild. Bro, listen to me. If you want respect from people, when people can see that you can stay calm even when you pissed off at them, or even when you mad at them, or y'all mad at each other, or they done did some shit, some childish shit, and you can stay mature and calm and collective, it's going to give you way more credibility in any situation, especially in a dynamic with somebody that you're naturally superior over, like a woman or a child. Now, if you're in a work situation, obviously you want to stay professional, but especially in dynamics with women and children, if you can stay calm with your body language but display authority, you'll definitely command authority. So guys, simple truth of the matter, like I said earlier in the video, you cannot escape problems. They will come, and for damn sure you cannot avoid confrontation. You won't get the best out of life. You won't live your best life if you avoid confrontation. But there's a certain way you handle confrontation as a masculine man, and the biggest part about it is staying inside your masculine frame. All right, G, so I appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Share this with a homeboy who this will help out. It's your boy KD. We out here, baby.